Welcome back, Plowbois. Plowboy Podcast, episode 17. We're on the 17th episode of the Plowboy Podcast. The date is February 22nd, 2022. 2222. I got that Khabib with me. I got the DOC, Young K-Dog, and this G-Meezy coming at you once again for the Plowboy Podcast. Interesting topic.
I've been getting a lot of exposure lately on niggas' songs and in their videos, cause they know I'm an OG, not an original gangster, but an organized general. They see me pulling up in my 300 banging, gators on my feet and jury dangling. Everybody love the way I look on the outside, but inside I be painting. Is it ever gonna stop raining? Nothing but thunderstorm clouds hover above me. Said I used to break my back to make sure my niggas were straight, but they still don't love me. That's why it's no more pain on my lower arm and one deep tatted on my upper arm. If you tell me when I'm gonna win, you know when I bless, you know when I'm gonna see. You were there at the beginning of my days, I'm just hoping I see you after all my days in. And I don't give a damn what these people say. Half the people in the church got evil ways. I was just looking to make a little skriller, but it turned a little Christian into a little killer. From label to label and gun to rifle, it's a forward march, ain't no time to retreat. If you able to save a nation, go ahead, but I'm struggling to get myself something to eat.
Let the truth be told, it ain't no brighter days, cause when it all unfolds, just pass away. These haters trying to stop my grind, but I bet them hoes can't block my shine. So tired of taking losses, not this time.
We're going to jump right off into this NFL coaching scam. So right now we got two ex-NFL football coaches, Brian Flores and Hugh Jackson, two former head coaches. Recently fired Brian Flores has brought up a lawsuit. This lawsuit is stating that he was being told to tank. He was being paid to lose games.
I just want to say thank you.
Of course.
I just want to say thank you. So last week, I interviewed for the Giants position. I was set to interview on Thursday, the Monday prior. Before I interviewed, I received a text message from Bill Belichick saying congratulations on the Giants, essentially congratulations on the Giants job. There was a little bit of back and forth.
We have the text messages there on the screen.
Yeah, there was some back and forth and
some confusion because you haven't sat down with the Giants yet.
I have not sat down with the Giants. There was some back and forth, and I asked him, "Is this you talking to the right Brian?" As you've seen through the text messages, he was actually thought he was texting Brian Daboll,
who they ended up hiring.
Yes, sir.
So at that point, how did that make you feel, knowing that you were walking into an interview where a decision might have already been made?
It was a range of emotions: humiliation, disbelief, anger. I've worked so hard to get to where I am in football, to become a head coach. Put 18 years in this league, and it was to go on what was going to be what felt like, or what was a sham interview. I was hurt. And,
but you went knowing that you probably weren't going to get it.
I did.
Why did you continue to go?
I think there's still hope, and maybe it's call it the audacity of hope. I have a belief that there's good in people. I just do.
We knew he wasn't getting that job. On the day before that Giants interview, we reached out to you, CBS, to all of you, to start talking about doing this interview today, because we knew he wasn't getting the job. We knew it was a setup. We knew they were just trying to comply with the Rooney Rule. We started drafting the complaint, and here we are.
The Giants say they're pleased and confident in the hiring process. I get the sense from the lawsuit and from you right now that you had a feeling like, here we go again. This wasn't the first time you felt discriminated against in the league. Is that true?
Yeah. The Rooney Rule is intended to, give minorities an opportunity to sit down in front of ownership. But I think what it's turned into is an instance where guys are just checking the box. And that's been the case. I've been on some interviews in the past that where I've had that feeling. There's always no way to know for sure, but And I know I'm not alone there. Look, I love coaching. I'm gifted to coach. I know that. And the relationships I've built with players, coaches, support staff. I'm gifted to coach, and I love coaching, and I want to coach.
And I've heard from reliable sources you're a very good coach. Let the
No doubt
record
about
show.
Always room for improvement, but I like to think that as well. But this is bigger than coaching.
Of course.
This is much bigger than coaching.
Now, we'll get back to the lawsuit in regards to the Broncos and the Giants, but I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins for a second. You make claims that you were offered $100,000 for each game this team lose, subsequently to get a better draft pick. Kind of speak on that, because you don't hear about that going on behind closed doors. I'm a former player. I know you as a coach. You want to win. I walk in that locker room. I want to win. I don't hear people from the front office and above making those type of decisions that can change the outcome of your coaching career.
Look, this game's done a lot for me. I grew up not far from here, in the projects in Brownsville, Brooklyn. I didn't grow up with a lot. This game, changed my life. So to attack the integrity of the game, that's what I felt was happening in that instance, and I wouldn't stand for it.
And that was Dolphins owner Stephen Ross.
Yes. So.
And you think it hurt your career?
I think it hurt my standing within the organization, and ultimately was the reason why I was let go.
In the lawsuit, there's this explosive line that the NFL is managed much like a plantation. That's a direct quote. Why did you decide to settle on that metaphor?
I think. Look, we didn't have to file a lawsuit for the world to know that there's a problem from a hiring standpoint in regards to minority coaches in the National Football League. The numbers speak for themselves.
Right.
We filed the lawsuit so that we could create some change, and that's important to me. I think we're at a fork in the road right now. We're either going to keep it the way it is, or we're going to go in another direction and actually make some real change where we're actually changing the hearts and minds of those who make decisions to hire head coaches, executives, et cetera. But I also know that I'm not the only story here.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one with a story to tell.
You're speaking up for decades of this going on and hopefully stopping it from happening.
There are people who have come before me, and I know there are others who have similar stories, and it's hard to speak out. It is. You're giving up, you're making some sacrifices, but this is bigger than football. This is bigger than coaching.
Thank you for using your voice. You're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
I think a lot of his lawsuit coming up with the fact that he was set up to be a fall guy. Also, Hugh Jackson, Gramblin's head coach right now, has came in the fold, saying he was also paid bonuses to lose games when he was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
We're pleased to be joined now by former NFL head coach and current coach at Grambling State, Hugh Jackson. Good evening, Coach. And I want to start, you were with the Raiders. You, of course, were with the Browns for 2.5 years. Brian Flores claims in his lawsuit that he was offered $100,000 per loss by Dolphins owner Stephen Ross. You implied on Twitter that similarly to Flores, you were incentivized to tank. You mentioned Jimmy. Of course, you're referring to the owner, Jimmy Haslam. Were you explicitly approached by ownership or anyone in the front office to tank, and that you would be incentivized for it?
This is what I would say. What I was approached by is understanding what that 4-year plan was. And I think if we understood the mechanics of it and how it was laid out, I never knew that that plan would lead to those things because I didn't understand it, being very honest. And then once I was in it and understood everything that was on that plan and how it affected myself and how others were being paid from it, then it made sense to me that this is a team that can't win, that the first 2 years, that's why I didn't talk about winning, is not to win so that you can capitalize that way, not so much for me, but for draft picks, for creating salary cap space so that they can do what they needed to do on the other end. And I do know that no head coach is going to survive if you lose a lot of games. There's no way. And so I was put out as the face of this, and I ended up having to take this, so this is, people don't understand that I tried to sound this alarm a while back, but nobody wanted to listen because the record was so bad. So you didn't have a chance to really, make a point because all the narratives was that he was just a bad coach. Well, that's not the case at all. So here we are today because what's happened with Brian Flores, I can see some similarities between the two.
Do you think that there's any validity to this? Do you think it's an untold, unspoken part of the game that some teams tank? I know that there is some benefits for losing games when you're trying to get higher draft picks. So we all aware of that. But does this question the integrity of the NFL to you? Does it make you think that they throwing games or games are fixed if owners are telling players, not players, coaches to throw games? And also added into this lawsuit is Brian Flores stating that the Rooney Rule is not effective, that people are being interviewed for these jobs knowingly that they won't get them. Some of these teams already have they choice pick, and they're just going through the motions to interview black coaches, which the Rooney Rule mandates. They have to interview a minimum of 2 black coaches before they can make their hire. Well, Brian Flores has gotten a text message and found out that the hire was already picked before he went to do his interview for the New York Giants. So is there any validity to this lawsuit? What do you think will come of it? I think recently Brian Flores was hired as an assistant by the Pittsburgh Steelers recently. So, K-Dog, you got a vested interest in this. One of your team's coaches is bringing this lawsuit up. You got any thoughts on this NFL coaching scandal that's going on?
I mean, it's something we all kind of paying attention to right now. And then I can't comment on Hugh Jackson at all, It's just one of them things, man, that once they get into it on football, it may come out in different sports where it possibly took place. We already think some of these boxing matches are paid off events. Some of these UFC fights are paid off events, It might come back where we find out everything we've been watching since young kids was all set up to be the way it turned out to be, Even when we go back to like San Francisco winning the Super Bowl, or we can go way back to when Doug Williams beat San Francisco when he was playing beat the Broncos. I'm sorry, he beat the Broncos when he was playing with the Washington Redskins, and kind of changed a few things in history as being the first black quarterback to do something like that. They may go back and, man, they opening up a whole bunch of things that could change a lot of the ways we look at sports from this day forward.
Okay, so you will it change your if that was come to pass, if they came out and said that these games are fixed, would that change your view of the NFL, or do you already think it's fixed?
I think some things are fixed already, man. I think some games, even in the NFL, the way that they have turned out were kind of just unexplainable, unless it was somebody, be it a quarterback, be it an offensive coordinator, be it a coach, who threw in some bad plays or who changed the outcome out of their own selfishness, I mean, it's human nature to be selfish, and the almighty dollar talks. So if you making money to throw a game and you thinking you're doing it under the table where nobody else is going to know about it, I mean, some of these coaches may have done it, some of these quarterbacks may have threw interceptions when they knew they had a game already won.
Yeah, they might possibly have some validity to it. So you say it wouldn't affect you either way if you find out that the games were fixed. So, Kabis, going straight to you. Again, do you think that these lawsuits have any validity to it? Or do you think they're going to be able to prove that, not necessarily that they were throwing games, but do you think that they're going to be able to prove that they have these coaches already chosen before they interview the black coaches? That's going to be hard to prove, I think, But, tie the two things in together with the Brian Flores lawsuit, throwing games. Does that question the integrity of the game? And do you think that there's some racism going on with the coaching hires in the NFL today?
For me, in America, so racism play a role in it. But what trumps racism every time is money. So like Tomlin is in Pittsburgh right now, coach. They just hired Luck for money. It is a disparity. We know it's a disparity. It's been a disparity since it started. You know what I mean? But it's people are making strides and steps. Hugh Jackson want to jump on Flores bandwagon because he did. Even if they offered him money, he took the money because they went 2 seasons without a win. So it's like the game is being played. That's how they play the game. So you either play along or like, Tomlin, Lovey went to the Super Bowl with the Browns. You know what I'm saying? Tomlin won the Super Bowl. So it's like, even though they may want to select a white coach, be better. That's how you get there. That's why the people that broke the color barrier, Jackie Robinson, they didn't want him to play, but they could not let him play because it's against, it's counterproductive. So it's the same thing with Flores. And for me, the difference between Flores and Jackson, Flores didn't take the deal. He was like, no. And he saw the fall. He was like, y'all want me to tank. If they would have tanked, they would have got Joe Burrow. They would have got the first pick. They would have got Burrow, and it would have been them in the Super Bowl. And that's why the owner wanted to do that. So it's like, Jackson was like, no, you want me to tank so you can get this quarterback, let me be the foul guy, and then go get a white coach and let him come in like the Golden State Warriors did with Mark Jackson. Let him build the team up, and the team get good. Then as soon as they good enough to win, you get rid of him, you bring somebody else in. So he saw it coming, so he like, no, I'm going to build my stock up and win these games and prove my worth as a coach. And he did. But it's like the position he in now, he's never going to get a job now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You just got to play the game. And it's not black to white. It's good to good. You either good enough to do it, you stay down long enough, and you get there. Belichick coached for the Browns. You know what I mean? He coached for the Browns. He coached for the Bills. He got his chance. He took it, took off. You know what I mean? You're not going like the NFL is a coach, it's a carousel. Unless you like the guy in that time. And even if you are the guy, McCarthy was the guy in Green Bay. And Andy Reid was the guy in Philadelphia. They started losing, he was gone. But he got another job. You know what I mean? He's there because he has a proven track record. And granted, Flores was building his track record, but you gotta build it. You know what I mean? You gotta build it already. But I feel the same thing with Cap. It's like you run into a situation. Yeah, is it messed up? Yes. Are they doing it on purpose? Yes. You know what I mean? They've been doing it like that. So it's like you either get along and go along, or you do like Cap, Flores. You make a big deal out of it. Hopefully you get a big payday, but it's not nothing compared to what he could have got. Because Lovey just got the job in Houston. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is what it is. You gotta play the game to win. You can't blow it up because you got a bad, you know what I'm saying? You got a bad deal.
Yeah, Flores did get an assistant coach job last week from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wanted to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh started the Rooney Rule. They initiated that because that was the name under a guy who worked for Pittsburgh, the owner, the Rooney Rule was why that was started. So, Doc, what you think, man? Is it racism going on with the NFL coaching hires? Does Brian Flores and Hugh Jackson's lawsuit have any validity to it? And does the tanking incidents that's coming out with coaches being paid to lose question the integrity of the game to you? Or is it just revealing something that you already knew existed?
It's just revealing something I already knew, man. Stuff been rigged a long time ago. The Flores situation, that comes out of Miami. That's what basically pissed him off. He was doing good down there. He was winning. I think he really wanted to work down there in Miami, but the coach didn't want him down there, and that was all set up. I think he got a case. He got a legitimate case down there in Miami. If you think about it, Nick Saban went down there. They wanted Nick Saban to tank. you could say what you want, but they gave Nick Saban that job, and what was in Nick Saban record? You got to look it up, but I think he won like 2 games, and you're talking about Nick Saban, you know. So that Miami owner got a lot of crap with him. He do got a case against that now with the Rooney Rule. You know, that's just in place. That's like what they call that?
Affirmative action.
Yeah, that's like affirmative action. You know, we just got to give you black folks. We just got to give you our interview. Y'all ain't gonna get the job. And I think that pissed him off. You know, I've been in that situation before. I'm thinking I'm about to get promoted. Like I said, when I worked correctional, I was walking around. Everybody was saying, "Hi, mate." I was a captain, and they was calling me major because they just knew they had a major position came open. A guy transferred. Everybody, "Oh, you next in line, major." They just jokingly start calling me major. You know, "How you doing, major?" And then the next day, come to find out, they gave a major job to somebody else out the blue sky, you know, and that's I think that's a dagger that pissed Flores off, and that's like when Belichick sent the text message to the wrong person. I kind of think Belichick did that on purpose. Belichick probably heard that they was giving a job to another Brian, and I think him and Brian used to work together. So he say, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna send that message to Brian Flores to wake him up, you know, let him know, hey man, they ain't gonna give you that job." So I don't think he turned on Belichick like that. I think Belichick gave him permission to use his email. Use that text message to help with his lawsuit. Belichick, he kind of played both sides of the deal. He with the NFL on some things, and on some things, he done been that Spygate and all that. He done been in all kind of crap, man. And but that's basically, Brian Flores, he got a lawsuit. And, hats off to him for taking that job in Pittsburgh. He working with his boy, Tomlin. I like to see how the defense gonna do next year. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. The NFL definitely got some games. They tied in with Las Vegas, you know. They'll get 2 or 3 games out the year that you expect, like the 49ers to win and they'll lose, or you expect the Saints to win and the Saints to tank that week. You could tell, man, that's all played in the Las Vegas making money, you know. That's it.
No doubt. I agree with you on both issues. The topic of Brian Flores case, he has blown the whistle on something that a lot of people already knew was going on in the NFL. You know, tanking is like an unspoken type of fraternity type thing. You know, nobody talks about it, but everybody know you're doing it. It's almost like the elephant in the room. In basketball, you had the 76ers doing it to get Ben Simmons, who don't even play for them no more. They traded him away last month or earlier this month. They threw a bunch of games, man. They was just tanking game after game to get that #1 draft pick. So in the system that they're in, I think it's beneficial for some teams to tank if they know that they're in a rebuilding state. They ain't going nowhere this season. They need that good player that's coming out of the draft. It behooves them to lose games. You actually get a reward for losing because you get that higher draft pick. Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got the #1 pick last year. Going into the draft this year, they got the #1 pick again. You know, is it helping them tanking? That remains to be seen. But obviously, they keep getting rewarded for that. Now, I think the NBA does it a little bit different now because of that. Just because you have the worst record doesn't mean you get that #1 pick. Now they have this lottery system. And I think maybe the NFL might need to go to that. You know, the teams that don't make the playoffs enter a lottery. You get more opportunities to get the #1 pick the lower your record is. But I mean, I just think something might need to be done as far as that goes to address the tanking issue. How are you going to prove it? Well, somebody has to blow the whistle, which happened with Brian Flores, which happened with Hugh Jackson. Whether or not, like Kabi said, it didn't matter if they were black, it was about money. You very well may be right. They may be offering it to some white coaches, and they may be losing. Some of these guys may be tanking due to the ownership just to go along and get along with what they want. But I think the black coaches have a shorter leash in the NFL. Like they don't get as long as many years to lose as some of these coaches do. It's like one and done. You know, look at Flores last year. Flores lost, went on a 7 or 8 game win streak, came to the Dome on Monday night and beat the Saints. And then they fired him, you know, and he was up for some head coaching jobs. They had like 9 vacancies in the league. And, you know, he got interviewed for a few of them. I think the Saints interviewed him, matter of fact. But this going through the motion, the text message Belichick showed they already picked this dude for the Giants. I mean, like you say, Doc, it possibly could have been a mistake, or it could have been Belichick just throwing him a little bone, saying, bro, they already got somebody for their job, you know, that you're going to interview for. You know, I think it'll definitely take a white guy that's in the organization to have to come out and actually co-sign what these coaches are saying for the lawsuit to actually come about. I mean, as far as a win on the lawsuit, it's going to be hard to prove that they just doing it just to get through the Rooney Rule, unless somebody from inside the organization who comes out and blows the whistle and says, yeah, we had no earthly intention on hiring this black coach. We was only doing it for the Rooney Rule to be, you know, to ease that. So, I mean, I think he got Denver involved in this lawsuit, the Giants involved in it, and Miami. And as far as the throwing games go and the integrity of the NFL, I already believe that it's rigged. I do truly believe that these games, the more importance to the game, the less they leave it to chance. Now, they got some games that I think that they probably don't have their hands in. But now that gambling is pretty much legalized across the country, you can gamble on your phone now on a game. You can put a wager, place a bet. I think they definitely have the outcomes of these games all the way down to the points that's scored with the over-under and the ability to manipulate, especially these games that are watched a lot, the prime time games, the games that people bet on the most. I don't think that they're leaving it to chance because there's too much money on the line now. So will I continue to watch it? Sure, I watch it. I've seen fights that I pretty much thought was fixed, and I still watch boxing. So I don't think it's going to stop me from watching. Will I bet on them? Probably not. I'll think twice about betting on them if I know that the outcome is already predicted. But like I say, man, this hadn't really shown me anything that I didn't know already. You know, the NFL being rigged, nothing new to me. The NFL being having some racism going on with who they choosing for their coaches and who they not choosing for their coaches. I mean, it's America. Doc said it happened to him in the job world. Probably happened to all of us, one way, shape, or form. You know, we've experienced it just from the highest level all the way down to the lowest. It happens, and you know, like I said, we gotta be better. And if something is going on that isn't right, you know, like Flores did, hey, go ahead and speak up. I commend him as well, Doc. You know, that's my take on it, man. And hopefully the NFL get it straightened out. Stop the tank. No more tanking.
More tank.
Just win, baby. Just win.
Boy. Yeah, you were born with dirty hands. Yeah, you a plowboy, and you're thinking silly, boy. Just trying to make you understand. Yeah, you a plowboy, and you're thinking silly, boy. Just trying to make you understand. Oh, yeah.